So, I've literally been bullied into coming out here. Every reporter that I went to ended up pawning me off on somebody else. That includes Jim. Hard to follow the rules here of the take notes. So I had to run back into town to get some headphones so I could comply with their rules. The problem I want to read something here that's supposedly about respecting the people who are here. Let's see. This is specifically for out here to Helping Hands. It says rights. I have the right to feel safe. Well, for good reason. It says I have the right to meet my needs. Well, it's not meeting my needs. This place is treating everyone like a drug addict. If everybody's got to go to AA, everybody's up drinking, it's kind of pointless to send them to AA. That's right. Like I said, if you're a drug addict, and even the ones just for drug addicts, they will still treat you like a drug addict. Like here. My very first day here, within 30 minutes, I didn't even make the coffee. Didn't even touch it. But I got yelled at by 6 people over it. It was not necessary. So, let's go to number 3. I have the right to ask for guidance and resources to meet my goals. Well, that is obviously not the case. I have my headphones plugged in, so I'm hoping you can't hear the yelling that's going on in the background. As far as support goes, this isn't support. My first day here getting bullied, not okay. The fact that it happened more than once on my first day over the same thing and that so many people were involved is not okay. The fact that 3 of those people have kept a grudge and gone out of their way to find any reason to poke me. Don't poke the bear. I'm doing the best that I can, but I'm also, having to try to explain to these people, hey, this is what these other folks are telling me. This is why I was sent out here. This is literally the only thing that any of these mandated reporters would do is try to send me here to Helping Hands, where we already knew from Claire Jordan what it's like. And it's not just Claire Jordan. John Stevens had a little bit to share about his experience too. John Stevens is one of the witnesses in the situation who knows. Not that it matters. The people that I'm supposed to go to for help want to just decide for me without hearing what's going on. Repeatedly, I've tried to get people to meet me in person so I can actually show them the evidence in person. Otherwise, I have to run around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to get the most basic resources needed to turn this in. It's not just internet. I need peace and friggin' quiet. I need to not be bullied. I need to be able to actually feel safe in my environment. And for me to actually feel safe in my environment, the people here have to do something. They absolutely cannot just let people bully me the way that they do. That lady with there's 2 people out here with dogs. One of them's a really nice lady that I know from in town, and her dog's really nice. The other one has a really nice dog, but she's not nice. So, of course, this Jim feller, wants to pretend at the last moment like he's going to help, knowing that he's not going to answer his phone, knowing that he's literally not going to lift a finger all weekend. He does not care. Meanwhile, people are dead, so I mean, yeah, they literally have to do their jobs or they go to prison. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. With the information I got yesterday about one of the bodies here in town, yeah, that's probably pretty important to turn in. Not that the cops are going to listen. Meanwhile, I got thousands of pieces of paperwork I got to go through just so I can find the stuff that I was needing to do just a month ago. I got to dry out all of my papers. It doesn't matter, does it? So, of course, the lady who runs the place, her name is Brianne Prince. And yesterday she wanted to bully me because I made a phone call. Now, I don't know if you guys got to hear the screaming that just happened, but that was louder, much louder than what I had to say. And does it matter the anxiety that I get from hearing that yelling, actual yelling? No, it doesn't. Now, me using my angry voice because it's essential is not the same thing as me screaming at people because I'm some nut job. Let's see. As far as guidance goes, these people aren't guiding me anywhere. They're keeping me in the dark, and the people they're conferring with are keeping me in the dark. You'd think that maybe Jim and maybe the people out here might, I don't know, speak with one another and inform each other of the situations. But no, they haven't done that. All of the things that Claire Jordan had to say about helping hands are true. There is nothing that she said that I haven't already seen since I've been here. The petty squabbles, the people who think that they're elite, these are all poor people, all of them. All right, as far as being elite and better than anybody else, they're not. She said that they pick on the ones that they deem the most mentally ill. She was absolutely right about that, and I have absolutely seen that here. There's also the fact that those people will lay down and take it because they have to. And those people are the ones picked on and ostracized and bullied the most. Those are the ones who are pushed off to the side as if they don't matter. Now, there's a lady with a dog named Chili here, and she is my very first bully here. She's the one that wanted to bully me over the coffee the first day, and then start a screaming and accusing match over the coffee again on the first day with multiple other people yelling at me who were not there when the coffee pot was made. The lady who did make the coffee, I don't know her name, but I do know was the elite lady and is also one of the people who runs the AA groups. That's not okay. Every one of these people that works here gets to go home. They get to go to peace and quiet and privacy. Well, I'm stuck here with a bunch of adults who act like 5-year-olds and bully, and it's a bunch of cliques. Not cool. Now, of course, these people are selfish. They don't care what I'm going through. Last night, some dude wanted to call me a selfish prick. Imagine his surprise when I called him a selfish prick back. You get to know me, or you can choose not to. Now, this guy wanted to tell me he had to wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. This is at like 3 a.m. Well, that's great. Sure. But between you waking up at 7 and me stopping abuse, I'd rather stop abuse. If you're so selfish that you're going to treat me like crap for trying to help stop the abuse that I endure, well, you're not worth listening to. I don't mind calling names back. That's something y'all might not have noticed. course, we have this peer support piece of paper here too, which basically outlines that this is a drug treatment facility. It says peer support is or does. This is a person in mental health and or drug and alcohol recovery. Unfortunately, schizophrenics are not going to be much help, and neither are burnouts. I need what's called a mandated reporter to do their job. Peer support does not cut it. Listening to people whine about their drunken stupidity is not help. It doesn't stop abuse. It just wastes time. I don't need peer support from a bunch of junkies. Now let's read some more of this stuff here from the list that's on the wall of what my rights are supposed to be. Obviously, I don't have the resources to meet my needs. I don't have the time. Meanwhile, with people like Jim wasting all of his time and all of my time doing what he wants. He was right there in person in the room with me and couldn't take a look at the evidence. He was too busy trying to shove me here. Now, who do I go to about the bullying? Because it wasn't just the day I got here, it was also yesterday. That wasn't fun. A lot of people keep on saying, oh, well, everybody's pissed off here, everybody's pissed off here. Yeah. Great. Why? Why is everybody pissed off here? I got to hear that the day I got here. Everybody's pissed off. All right, well, good for them. I'm pissed off too. Peer support generally comes down to people wanting to talk over me and tell me about their drug addictions, about how they got clean. This is not peer support because drug addicts are not my peers. Schizophrenics are not my peers. Where's the peer support? I'm a victim of long-term abuse, including systemic abuse. Now, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of people here who probably qualify for that. But they're not doing anything about it. They're complaining to complain. I'm not complaining behind closed doors to people that I'm hoping will never say anything. I am speaking loud and proud on YouTube, hoping that somebody hears me because nobody here is going to. It says I have the right to have boundaries. No, I don't. My boundaries have been stepped over, walked over, and stomped on since I got here. It says I have the right to a clean space. Well, that takes time. This place is filthy, and I don't mind taking the time to clean it, but I have real problems I need to deal with. I don't mind cleaning everything, but I gotta have the time to do it. Peer support is for alcoholics and drug addicts. That's what peer support is for. None of the peer support here helps victims of abuse. It says I have the right to have my needs met. Well, my needs aren't met. Matter of fact, their whole piece of paper that you got to sign when you come in explains that they're not going to meet your needs. They don't care about your needs. Your disabilities don't matter. This is not a hospital. None of my needs are getting met here. Now, don't get me wrong, my food intake could be met here, but I gotta be not afraid to walk into that kitchen when people are there. And when I get yelled at multiple days in a row over something that literally did not happen, I didn't spill the coffee. I didn't overflow the coffee. I didn't fill the thing too high for it to work. But these people that think they're quote unquote elite, like this lady with the chili dog, yesterday she wanted to come in, and after I literally set up the computer where I was told to, had to run around doing a bunch of stuff to make the people here happy, trying to get my computer to work during that time. And then, of course, during the AA meeting, apparently, well, the lady wanted to have a very specific spot. There's literally, I wish that my phone wasn't broken because I would show you that there's literally 3 chairs in a row she could have sat in. There's 4 more chairs right behind me. I mean, she literally didn't have to choose that chair. And she wanted me to unplug my computer and put her away because they're having an AA meeting. I'm like, I can't unplug it. There's no functional battery in it. The battery doesn't work. So I have to have it plugged in. And if I explain that a dozen times, people are still going to forget it because they tell me to be patient for months or years on end while they expect and demand right now, right now, right now, right now, right now. All right, my disabilities prevent me from doing what you want right this moment, right when you want it. My inability to perform magic also prevents me from doing the things that you want right when you want it. I cannot possibly go through those thousands of pieces of paper. I have to record so that I can at least watch my own back. Let's go to the next one. It says, I have the right to advocate for myself. No, I don't. Brianne Prince showed that yesterday. I'm not allowed to advocate for myself. I will get yelled at. I will get snapped at. I will get talked over. I will get dismissed, and I will be treated like I am some sort of a horrible person for doing what is necessary to protect myself in a hostile environment, and it is a hostile environment. So, as far as the right to advocate for myself, just like all of the other quote unquote rights, I don't have it. I don't even have an appropriate way to bring a grievance to these people because I already know from experience I'm going to get talked over and snapped at and treated with the utmost disrespect. Meanwhile, I wish Claire Jordan was here. I wish Claire Jordan would have helped me to turn this place in before I ended up out here. Claire's a good mom. Coming out here to Helping Hands, this place was supposed to help her get on her feet so she could get her kids back. Her kids never should have been taken, first of all. And second of all, they made her jump through ungodly hoops. For somebody who's got to get her kids back and has to jump through all of that, and she's stuck in a public setting in a room with 7 other women. Yeah, all of the stuff that Claire was bitching about, she's absolutely right about. I can confer, or I can, literally see with my own 2 eyes the situation here. I can hear with my own 2 ears the situation here. I gotta go back into town today. I can't carry all my stuff into town. So I hope that none of these people steal my stuff, including the guy who was trying to choke another dude out yesterday. Not cool. Let's see, what's the next one? It says, I have the right to experience my emotions without judgment from myself or others. No, I don't. I'm not allowed to have my emotions, and I'm certainly not allowed to express them. How dare I? If I'm angry about being abused, then I'm a monster because I'm angry, huh? And that's how all of these women play. You notice I said women? Notice how I singled out women in this? That's because women are our primary predators. These are the people treating us completely disrespectfully. While men are more likely to be abused than women in every single category but one, the majority of quote unquote domestic violence Not survivors. The majority of domestic violence survivors are absolutely men. Men are 30 times more likely to be the target of physical abuse by a woman than the other way around. The majority of situations where men have been arrested for quote unquote abusing women, it's been situations like my stepdad Scott, who was getting the hell slapped out of him by my mother, and he pushed her away. Big difference between pushing someone away who's assaulting you and battering a woman. This person calling themselves Lord God wanted to put a little smiley face and type no one can hear you. Well, that's cute. I can't tell if you can hear me or not. Of course, this person wants to call me a dirtball, and that's the thing. Doesn't matter where I go, I'm going to get bullied. I'm going to get harassed. That's going to happen no matter what. But for it to happen in a living environment that I have to live in, where I'm subservient, you know what subservient means, right? Subservient means that a victim is dependent on their predators for resources. When you're having to depend on people who are predatory towards you for food, you're having to depend on people who are predatory towards you and others for a roof over your head. Pretty messed up situation. Let's see, let's go to the next one. It says, I have the right to be respected as a human being. Well, that's absolutely not the case. We all got problems. But when you bully somebody for having problems, and then you expect them to just take it, you want to do this elitist crap, too bad. I'm not your punk. I will speak up. As far as respected as a human being, no, I am talked down to like a dog. Of course, here they just ganged up on me over something stupid. Somebody else spilling some coffee. Oh God, poor thing. Let's see. It says I have the right to access resources. Well, not really. If the resources are there and I'm not allowed to touch it, I'm pretty screwed. That's not access. Kind of like if somebody says that you can drive a car into town because you live 13 miles out in the country, but there's no gas in the car. What good is that car going to do you? You have to travel 13 miles into town and another 13 miles back out to the car in order to put gas in it so you can drive it into town. How much sense is this making? None. It's not illegal to post people's numbers, by the way. It's just rude. Let's see. It says, I have the right to access resources. Oh, the last one here, it says, I have the right to feel welcome at Helping Hands. Well, I don't feel welcome at Helping Hands. See, there's 3 people here who are of the most mentally ill category. That they all 3 talk to me quite frequently and quite often. It's because they're the ones that are shunned by pretty much everybody else here. And that lady with the chili dog likes yelling at all of us. Now here it says responsibilities. Under the responsibilities part, this is the part where they diminish you as a human being and try to blame you for them not following through. It's called victim blaming. On the responsibilities section, it says, I am responsible for ensuring my behavior maintains the safety of others. No. My behavior does maintain the safety of others. who's yelling, I'm willing. If you're beating on a child and screaming at the top of my lungs gets your attention away from that child and onto me, then by God, I'll do it. As far as maintaining the safety of others, people here are not ensuring that their behavior ensures my safety, not even in the least bit. Let's make sure we take a screenshot of what the bullies are typing, because in just a minute, we're going to do what? We're going to block them. Oh, come on. Let's see if it'll let me see it. But it's not very effective. Maybe we'll do it this way. But it's close enough. Anyway, we got this person wanting to harass me, and what do we do with these guys? Hide user on this channel. As far as the safety of the other people out here, nobody here is safe. Out here in Helping Hands, yeah, you're not a human being. Someone calling himself Craig Niles typed, "What's this channel about?" and hello there. Well, hello. Can you hear me? Hey Claire, it's Sean. I'm actually out at Helping Hands right now, and I'm having to endure a lot of abuse out here.
I don't know how much I can do. What do you need?
Well, I was hoping that you might be able to send me an email about your abuse here. Being here just the last 3 days, I've been able to verify everything that you said about the place.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, this week I just recently was finally able to get police across all 3 states for Oregon, Colorado, and Florida to finally listen to me and take it seriously. And I mean, it was just yesterday in the afternoon that somebody finally, like a mandatory reporter, actually said, "Okay, I believe you," and I sent them a report. So I'm not sure how much sway I can have, but yeah, what do you need that to take?
Well, about the situation with you out here, because it's important to show that I'm not the only one, but also, like,
You're not the only one. And, I'm still working on getting evidence for myself. And I think that is, and I was actually just thinking about you, honestly, 5 minutes ago, which is strange, about how I need to now be able to get like records from me trying to seek help and trying to go to the hospitals and things like that, having people not take me seriously. So I think it would be better, like, and I mean, it is just yesterday. So I'm not ignoring you. I'm not leaving you, out in the cold or whatever, but it's been very hard for me to get people to take me seriously now that they finally have. I am working on getting records from places like Helping Hands and Open Door and the hospital out there to stress that they just basically, they just call everybody schizophrenic and they forget.
Yeah, exactly. And I that's one of the things when I say it, I get treated like I must be schizophrenic, but my paperwork shows that I'm not.
Yeah, I actually just 2 days ago got a new copy of my complete, like tchc psychological evaluation that says that I'm autistic, that I have a social anxiety disorder, that I have an IQ of 141, and that's a lowball estimate because the tests don't quite, that you can't quite do it for people that are nonverbal autistic and things like that. So I just got a brand new copy of that and need that for ammo. And I promise you, you have been in my thoughts just in the last couple days, and then I finally got some traction for myself. And so I would be happy to help.
All right. Also, Claire, I have a bunch of evidence of not just the things that people were saying, but I recorded these SOBs actually doing these things. I've got the recording.
You're gonna have to hear it. So as far as I can tell, no matter what state you're in, no matter what agency you go to, I can't testify or based on what you have recorded because it turns into hearsay immediately. But if you have those things, and I know that you've uploaded them to like YouTube and stuff like that, and I always said, nothing redacted. If it comes out of my mouth, I'll own it. And I know that you have me recorded, and so you can reference that and give them my contact information.
Well, one of the things that they're pulling the wool over people's eyes with is all of this crap that they're claiming about the, what do you call it, the hearsay. It's not hearsay. If you're an eyewitness to it, it's no longer hearsay. That's one of the things about the video evidence is that all these people are refusing to look at it from these government services. They're not allowed to refuse to look at it. They have to take it seriously right away, and they have to turn it in right away. They should have done that the first time that she went to them as well.
It's not just Oregon, Sean. It was in Northern California as well that I witnessed that where people were getting treated the same way in Northern California all the way down to San Francisco.
Yep.
And guys were walking around going, we're going to take some testimony here because, we need as many people as possible. And they would start, they'd fire up their camera and you just have a chat. And so you're not the only one. You need enough people to be squeaky enough to make it happen.
The part where they tell you things like, all right, for example, for some odd reason, whenever they want to pound on you, there's always 100 witnesses that they'll write down, right? But they never call on you because they've already decided they're going to railroad. And that's how it is when you're poor. But one of the things with them doing that is that they'll allow those people to make reports, and they'll allow the witnesses to make what's called a witness statement. And they're supposed to go and collect those and try to get those when a crime is committed. What they'll tell the other witnesses, my witnesses, and probably your witnesses as well, is that they can't make a report for someone else. They say what they tell us is that you can't make a report for somebody else. They're literally changing the words of it to say that you're not allowed to make a witness statement. They're also going out of their way not to take witness statements.
The special extra bullshit that happens out in Oregon is that because of a lot of the religious cults that are out there, and I'm going to call them cults because they might fancy themselves just religious or maybe a little extremist, but they're actually cult-like. And they have, very strict, if you're a woman, you need to have somebody else speak for you. You shouldn't be wandering around doing things by yourself. If you're a single man, then, you need to have a buddy to go speak with you. And, if it's a man and a woman and they're not in a relationship together, they shun you because that's improper or whatever.
Disabled people were both allowed and supposed to have somebody there with us to help us advocate. They're supposed to legally provide one.
They're not going to listen to you unless somebody comes with you to help you. But then when they do, they say it's hearsay and they ignore.
Yep. And the thing is, it's absolutely not hearsay. It's them literally not wanting to do their jobs, and they will tell any lie to not have to. Their mandated reporter jobs, like when you went to them about your kids, that's an 8 hour job to turn that in.
I
So
know,
when
and
they tell you that
I
they
got
only
the
have
state of
50 minutes,
Colorado to do it, and that was brilliant. Like the stuff that just managed to happen this week with the mandated reporters in Colorado just was the biggest relief of my whole fucking life because I finally had somebody that was a mandated reporter that actually took their job seriously, that understood their obligation, that witnessed something and was like, well, there it is. And I was like, Jesus Christ, thank you. And they, sent me an email and said it's reported, and I sent it to the therapist's office and all kinds of places. And they were like, oh, okay, thank God, okay.
they're telling me that I didn't return anything in. There was like 6 different situations with just Officer Fitzgerald, and he claims that there's only one. I've got recordings of people in this town literally beating on me. I don't remember your email address. If you could send it to me, I'd like to try to send you some video links to the evidence, and hopefully you might be able to help turn it in uh, from your end.
I'm not sure how much traction I can get because honestly, out there, they take women even less seriously than single homeless dudes. Like we get less than animal rights out in Oregon. As a single woman, I was treated like with less rights than a stray dog.
Yep.
So
As a woman, there's more services for you, but even you got denied for all the services. And I've seen the difference between you. You didn't even smoke pot in front of me, okay? And then there's all these people like Dora getting out and getting all effed up on that stuff, literally doing it publicly, smashing
oh
things,
yeah,
breaking things.
masturbating in the middle of the road.
Yes.
Yeah, Dora. Yeah.
So I'm not allowed to have any anxiety over that. And the thing is that those are the people that the resources are going to, and those are also the people who are making us all look bad. And we don't get to decide who they're going to throw on the streets with us, whether it's somebody who's schizophrenic, somebody who's a child molester, or a rapist. We're stuck with it. Now, the thing is, the people who are assaulting me here, they are literally citing Natalie Bollinger as their excuse to assault me. They're pretending like I molested her and like I murdered her, which you've already gotten to see the proof that we were friends and that the guy who killed her is in prison.
Right.
So, the big thing is people not wanting to listen. What you just told me about your situation is absolutely wonderful. That's probably the only thing smile worthy in my life right now.
And that was just in the last 72 hours, man. That's how long it's taken me. And I had to go all the way back to Colorado where people knew me, where they have all my medical records, and then I pulled up my, actual psychological evaluation and like, look, this is what's going on with me. Like Oregon, they didn't care. I was waving it in front of them. They took it through the garbage because they didn't want to see it.
They've literally thrown things in the garbage in front of me, but not that kind of paperwork. I'm still getting the same runaround from the very first officer that I had to talk to here, Lynn Lossman.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if you remember, but when I first got away from my abusive ex, I went straight to an ER and said, "Are you a mandated reporter?" And they said, "Do you feel safe at home?" Because they have to ask that question. And I said, "No." And then I know the procedure that's supposed to happen, and they just laughed and said, "Oh, just go back to your husband and be a good wife." And then I was like, "That's not acceptable." They had to actually call in a legit licensed medical professional because the Seventh-day Adventist hospitals and clinics in that area not all of them have proper actual medical licenses. And so they actually had to call in somebody, their doctor, to come in, and he handed me his business card and he said, "Get yourself out, save yourself, then come back for your kids. Let's get out."
Well, if you'd have stuck around at the Tides of Change thing, you'd have never gotten your kids back. You're absolutely right about that. You did absolutely the right thing by going when you did.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you know what I did, but I dug through dumpsters and grabbed all the cans and bottles I could, cashed them in all the way across Oregon and so the border where like the 10 cent cash and stops, but got enough gas to drive my car all the way to Colorado, and then the head gasket blew, but I was already home, and I'm, you know, and so looking at stuff.
Well, you're a superhero. I mean, I don't agree with any of the stuff that went on up here as far as right before you left. I mean, I am 100% supportive of it. I just wish that it hadn't happened. And I absolutely am 100% behind you. You got your kids back. Even if you'd have had to kick me in the face to get your kids back, I'd have said good job.
Now my ex is like, he doesn't even know it yet. That's how recent it was. Like just 2 p.m. yesterday, they said that they're going to go ahead and file charges, and that I don't even have a choice at this point because of the mandated reporter thing finally working.
Yeah, when you're disabled, they literally have to, and they have to do it
And so
immediately.
I am never going to have to see that man again. And now they're doing the work that was supposed to happen 18 months ago. I was just telling somebody that I got to be fucking lucky because there's so many people that I've spoken to where they're like anywhere from 6 to 10 years on trying to get just one person to take them to.
Yep. I've had all of my resources taken from me. My vehicle no longer works from people beating on it. They've thrown rocks through my windows bigger than my head. Yeah.
Oh, I was wondering too, and I have no way to get a hold of them, but like Tickle and Preston, are they all right?
I don't know. I haven't seen Preston in the last time I saw him was when he was sitting in the, you remember that day I brought you the alarm, the emergency alarm?
Yeah, that one?
Yeah, that was the last time I saw him.
Oh shit.
So yeah, it's been a while.
I don't know, that's weird. Okay. Yeah, I'll text you my email, and then you send me what you have, and at the very, very least, it'll be, no matter what happens to your tag, it'll be, saved in my email, and then we'll figure out what we can do. I do need to like focus on getting this, so I have appointments all the way through next Thursday to take care of my stuff, make sure that my ex ends up with the proper restraining order and everything. And luckily, I don't have to do anything at this point because some stuff that happened. But
Yes, ma'am. I had to try to get a protection order against a guy here named Andrew Gomez and another guy named Chris Stafford. I haven't been able to get the one with Chris Stafford started. The one with Andrew Gomez, I've gone to 2 court dates already. The mandated reporters that I've gone to have literally eaten up all of my time trying to force me to go to Helping Hands for literally 17 months. I'm finally out at Helping Hands. None of the services that were here are actually here. All of the people who lied to me and told me those services are here.
oh, I can absolutely fucking testify to that. It's part of my language. But what they do is they tell you, oh no, before you come here for that, you have to go there for this. And they have that, and you show up and they're like, I don't know what you're saying. We never offered that. Go back to the other thing. And they send you in circles until they run you out of time and out of gas and out of resources, and you give up.
Exactly. And you're also stranded at that point without any resources, which is difficult. Because it's the weekend, there's also the fact that I can't get a hold of any of the people that I need to. And a lot of people, like in Colorado, nobody understands that.
Yeah.
People in Colorado, like for example, all the stuff they did to you here, when you told them that you were being abused and that you were autistic, they're supposed to do something about it right away. And because they didn't,
And they said, I think you're schizophrenic and bipolar. You have a nice day, and kicked me out on the street.
yes, and that's what they do to everybody out here. There are at least 3 people at the last place that I was at right before I came here that all 3 of them were diagnosed as schizophrenic, and I asked all 3 of them, I said, how long?
About that recently. I was talking to a psychologist, and I was like, the most bizarre, upsetting thing about being out in Sonoma County was that we go to
And why is it that those people are the ones being denied the services? Now, as far as
They're
the
just using
calling
that
me
as a way
schizophrenic,
to deny services, to dismiss stories, to pretend that they don't have to hear testimonies, to pretend that the things that are coming out of their mouth are untrue, so they don't have to report it.
yep, exactly. That's the thing about like when you were recording, I was like, oh my god, this woman is smart. She's using her brain. Um, with well, kind of have to. There's a lot of stuff going on right now that people got busted because they were recorded. And I have to deal with idiots who say, I'm not going to record anybody. It's rude. I'm like, well, when they lie to you, then you're the one that's going to get blamed. That's one of the things about my autism advocate in Nebraska. She got scared when she realized that the police were going to try to peg everything on her. And that's what resulted in me having to leave the state of Nebraska. But that's not what brought me here. What brought me here was missing people, which you're aware of.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yep. The big issue that I'm having, I've got this thing with Andrew Wolnez. I don't even know when my court date is. It's supposed to be, I think, on the 4th or the 5th.
You
But
can usually look it up online. If not, you can go to the courthouse and ask them to look at the docket for you.
yep. And that's the thing about going to the courthouse is that's an unsafe place for me to go alone. And that's also another thing if you haven't experienced it.
That's one thing that people don't understand anywhere else in the country is that I personally witnessed myself is that it is absolutely, I was just talking to somebody about this like the day before yesterday. It is absolutely terrifying to try and go and do something alone in the state of Oregon, which is really bizarre. Like, that is not the case in a lot of other places in this country, but in Oregon, you have to have a buddy to go speak for you, and it's heavily dependent on religion and gender,
Yep.
and you have, like, I was telling somebody that this girl Brandy that's, is still whatever, like, she came up to me at one point to get my car worked on through that shop.
Yep.
My car was parked outside of, and she was like, look, if you want to get your car fixed, then get the shop, you need to talk to me. She's like, if you want to get your car fixed, then you're going to just have to suck it up. Pretend that you know me, and I'm going to talk to you like you're an idiot in front of her, and then I'm going to be like, look, you're trying to help us fix, and we'll get it done. And sure as shit, she walked in like she owned the place and said, look at this poor little dumb blonde over here needs her car fixed. She's my old friend. I didn't know this lady for more than like a week at the time. And then she was like, the only thing I asked her to just look around and do it the other way for me because I got a couple things. And that's what we did. And it was wrong.
Yeah. And you have to do it ways like that. One of the things that you were talking about where you have to go in with a buddy, that's actually the way that it is for men nationwide. If homeless men, that's literally the go-to in every state. I was told that in Alaska it's different, and I was told in Minnesota it's different, but I looked up the laws in Minnesota and Alaska, and I also spoke with people from Alaska and Minnesota. It's all screwed.
It's hard to believe, man, because like they call it hearsay if somebody else is standing there speaking for you, but they don't want to hear you if somebody's not standing there speaking for you.
Yep. The other thing is they keep trying to reword stuff and pretend that things are hearsay that absolutely aren't. Is it hearsay when other people do it to you? No, it's not. When they want to use it against you, it's magically not hearsay. When somebody slanders your name and they pretend that it's true and run with it, that right there is an example of these idiots running with hearsay. Now, the only people they're supposed to do that with is uh, children, disabled people, or seniors in at risk situations. The allegation of abuse is enough to begin an investigation, and they're supposed to, by law, begin an investigation immediately. I've tried to show these people the evidence in person, they won't look at it. And then they tell me later on, they say, oh, well, you have to send me the evidence. You haven't showed me any evidence. Kind of like with 911, you
I
call
had
it.
that happen with the state of Florida because I was trying to email copies of text messages and stuff, and the police officer that I sent these to, I was like, look, it's going to be a lot. I think I have, upwards of like 150 text, screenshots and he looked at three of them because I could see because it was like a Google Drive situation, and he looked at three of them and said, "Yeah, I don't have access."
Yeah, and that's the thing that I'm having to deal with all of them here. All of them are telling me they don't have time. They're literally putting our lives at risk, and there are people in Tillamook who are dead now as a result of it. One of the places that they sent me for help, um, the guy was just telling me yesterday that he came home one day and there was a dead guy in his bed.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I believe it though. I mean, there's one resource out in Forest Grove where if you show up at the Space Age gas station on like Tuesdays around, God, what is it, like 10 a.m. These people actually do help. They're the ones that roll around to the homeless encampments and drop off gas and food and stuff. But they're limited and they're so overstretched that, you know, it's like a once a week thing. So, like, you get to the point where, like, you might only be eating once a week and have $5 in gas because of this one resource that's trying to cover the greater Portland area all by itself.
Yep. And with Tillamook, they keep trying to send me to Portland. I keep telling them I went to Portland first. Portland's the first place I went. They let me know that there's lots of resources there, but there's more people than resources. So, you might.
So Open Door in Forest Grove, they're pretty non-judgy, and I think like as far as resources, I know that you said your car is broken. If you were to relocate yourself at all, I would suggest that you go to Forest Grove to Open Door.
Well, I'm not able to relocate because of the sheer quantity of evidence I've got.
Like exactly, they just run you into the ground, so you can't even.
Yeah, I can't even leave. They guaranteed that I wouldn't be able to leave about 4 months ago, and they've been eating up every resource I have since, and then telling me, "Oh, well, you just need to move somewhere else. Why don't you just go over the hill?" That's what they call it, going over the hill.
They're like, "Oh, the resources you need are actually way up by Astoria, so go up there, go to this shelter." And I showed up, and they're like, "I don't know why they told you that. This is a men's shelter." And then so I referred somebody else up there, and
Casey.
they said, "I don't know why they told you that. This is a halfway house." And it's just like, what in the actual fuck is going on?
I was in Astoria. I've also got recordings of abuse in Warrenton by the police there as well as the public. There's also the autism place that they have there. I think you were the one that told me about First Steps. Is that correct? I went in there.
Okay, so yeah, it was you that I told maybe you should go because when I showed up, they said we don't help women. I don't know why you got sent up here. And I'm like, well, I drove a real fucking long way to get help from here. It's like, oh, they can't do so much, but this is the only resource I have.
Yep. And I went to First Steps.
It's only for men.
I went to the First Steps thing there. They're supposed to be literally autism advocates. And the day that I went in and talked to the two ladies in there, Brandy and I can't remember the other lady's name. Well, a police officer came in, and while those ladies were kind of sounding like they might help me, the officer came in and said that I was wanted for murder in Colorado. Basically, just did everything he could to try to make me sound like a bad guy. And I had to go back there and ask for that officer's name so I could turn him in. And then I left. I never went back. Because of the safety issues, I absolutely recorded. I recorded the part where I went back and said, "Hey, I need the officer's name." And you get to hear the lady there. She's literally laughing at me. She's supposed to be an autism advocate, and she's literally laughing.
Even just that, it was actual firefighters. So it was around that same area. I was having heat stroke symptoms, and I asked somebody to call 911, and then when they showed up, I was like, what I really need is some water and an ice pack for my brain so that I don't have a stroke right now. They literally laughed at me. These were firefighters that showed up with the fire truck and the EMTs, and they were laughing at me, going, well, if you don't want your help, and I'm like, if you want me to be able to articulate my words right now, I'm going to need you to get an ice pack and a bottle of water.
And they all play it that way. They look at you as a
well,
junkie from the start.
Do you want us to help you or not? And I'm like, I do. What I need you to do is prevent me from having a stroke right now by getting me an ice pack and a bottle of water. Okay, I guess you don't want help. We'll go now. Bye.
See, that's verification right there. That's the same thing they keep doing to me. Every single agency does this, though. I tell them, hey, there's a safety issue with the police. Oh, you don't want to go to the police. Well, that's not our fault. I'm like, I didn't say I didn't want to go to the police. I've been trying to go to the police. The police create a safety issue every time I go to them. This guy, Andrew Wolnez, who's been assaulting me, he's assaulted me on camera 7 times. He's assaulted me physically 9 times. He's broken my phone multiple occasions. He's beaten on my vehicle at least 30 times. I've got probably half of the times that he was beaten on my vehicle recorded. I mean,
actually, I don't mean to interrupt you, but one of the people out from Forest Grove that witnessed, stuff that was like kind of like the crossover with, Casey and stuff like that. He actually contacted me like last week and said, I want to check on you. That guy really fucked up and stole all my tools, and I believe you now.
I'm not going to say I told you so. I'm not.
Yeah.
You told me about the thing up in the mountains. That was the same thing I was afraid of when I went up there. That I was
trying to get me trapped, and anyway. But that man said that he wanted to cut my skull open and lick my brain and then rinse it into my pants. And I was like, oh my God, you're nuts.
Yeah. Well, one of the things is I saw you have 2 minor panic attacks. I only call them minor because I know you've had worse. But both of them were over very legit issues and things that any parent is going to be pissed off about.
Oh, yeah. Well, separation anxiety, they say, I've never spent time away from those kids until that all went down. And I had extreme separation anxiety going on from that, on top of everything else going on, and then panicking. And, all the things that I was saying was going on that happened, people were like, oh, you got no evidence, you're just that. He was convinced, Nat, Nathaniel Hunt that works at the O'Reilly, I guess he's notorious for thinking that he's hot shit and wanting to have everyone that he ever decides he ever wants to have, and then he's the kind of guy that will fuck you up and try to kill you and threaten to shoot you in the head if you reject it.
That's Chris Stafford right now.
And he's known for that. And I didn't know that, but my ex-husband, just played along with that crap. And, here I am going, they poisoned me. They trapped me in a room for 3 weeks and then kicked me out on the street for dead, told people that I actually ran away and abandoned my kids, and then estranged me from everybody I ever knew, and said that I was fucking crazy. And I was like, yeah, I was a little bit wonky because had been poisoned and held captive and tortured and raped.
And then they don't want to hear that.
Like they the right fucking mind. But the thing that really fucked me up was the separation anxiety, because I was sitting there speculating about what in the hell is going on with my kids. If that's what they did to me, what are they doing to my kids? And it's just this week that I finally got evidence that I was right. And it was said in front of a police officer on a badge cam in front of a social worker at the same time.
And that's the part they're legally supposed to do. They're supposed to do that the first time, every time they're supposed to. And they have never done so with me. Go ahead.
It took 18 fucking months. They finally did it. And you know what? I just told somebody the other day that I feel damn lucky that it only took 18 months. Because I've seen the real shit in this country at this point, and Oregon is real bad.
Colorado's real bad too, but that's specifically male heavy. Colorado is a male hitter state.
I mean, the draw with Colorado this is where I grew up.
It's your home,
They
same
have all
as
my
me.
they have all my medical records. People know me personally, so out in Oregon, nobody knew who the fuck I was. They were just going on whatever the hell Nathaniel Hunt had to say about me, of making and then making judgments and then deciding, like they do, just to say that you're schizophrenic or bipolar or whatever, or even for dead. Out here, people are like, I went to elementary school with that girl, and I've known her, and she works her ass off, and she's a really good mom, and holy shit, if she's not fucked up or something happens.
Yeah.
That's what saved my ass.
Like I got to meet you like right after you first started all the stuff out at Helping Hands, and I can literally vouch to this day for the fact that you literally never did any drugs in front of me other than tobacco. I mean, I never saw you drink. I never saw you smoke a joint.
Yeah. I helped a couple of the homeless guys clean up.
Yeah.
Kept them safe while they were DTA, but never did any of it.
My public pretender just sent me a message. It's been 2 months over this. He literally just sent me a message right now saying that they're still waiting on funds for the investigator. Like they're not doing their jobs. My public pretender, this is the third one.
That shouldn't be a thing.
No, it shouldn't be.
Like waiting on funds. That's the entire point. Is that they just get salaried to just do that.
Well, it's kind of like the part where they say you can't make a report for somebody else. They're outright lying and they're misinforming intentionally. The thing is, that all of the services here are under a lot of pressure to not spend any money, but there's also a crap ton of grants being thrown out right now for people who are on drugs.
All the money that the freaking Masonic cults and the Seventh-day Adventists and the puritanical fucking Christian ones.
I can send you the recordings of assaults at the Seventh-day Adventist Church, as well as the reactions from those people.
The Catholic one too.
I didn't go to the Catholic one. I've got the First Christian Church abuse there, 4 assaults there, 2 of them recorded, 4 assaults at the Seventh-day Adventist, 1 or 2 of them recorded.
Well, I can testify about the Seventh-day Adventists. They're the ones that just laughed at me when I said I don't feel safe and I need a brain scan and I need you to test me for every drug you can think of. And they just laughed and said, "Go home to your husband."
Yeah, that's Seventh-day Adventist. One of the things with the drugging of people out here, like I won't take drugs or I won't take pot from street people. I don't want to smoke pot to begin with. But I have a.
They're pretty big on drugging people, and I tell you what, his name is Johnny, that black guy that runs the biker rep. He's actually confirmed to me before that people buy fentanyl on purpose to try and fuck with each other.
Yeah. Also, when I was in Hood River, there was a guy there named Trent who. It was a hot day, and it was a couple days after he and some of his friends had threatened to kill me over Natalie. He came back to apologize and said that he was going to ask me if I wanted something to drink. I said, yeah, I could use a soda pop, Dr. Pepper. So he went and got a soda pop. They were gone about 45 minutes. He came back. I took 1 swig and realized that it tasted like chemical straight up. Like they were not smart about it.
That's what I'm saying, man. And nobody believed me when I said, no, I was absolutely definitely drugged. And they were like, no, well, why would you say that? And I'm like, well, because, half the homeless population out there will confirm that that's the MO of that area.
Yup. There's also the fact that, like with mine, go ahead.
My ex and my ex-landlord, so it's Josh Stomberg and Nat Hunt. I talked to the people, the very people that sold them the drugs, and they had no idea what they were going to do with it or who it was going to affect. And then they apologized to me and said, "Oh my God, if I knew that they were doing that to you, I would never have sold it to them." And so I would never throw them under the bus because, what the real problem is that people are, taking advantage of people that are freaking desperate that will do anything for money because they've been fucked up by a whole system and left for dead and called schizophrenic. And, some person with money walks up to them and says, hey, I'd like to buy this substance. And then, somebody ends up dead or at least almost nearly poisoned to death.
Yep, and that is a major MO here. I mean, a lot of the street people, I've had people here give me pot with crystals on it on 4 different occasions, and they don't take no for an answer.
They have a nice little mix there where it's a mix of meth and fentanyl. So basically, you don't quite know that you've been fentanyl poisoned right away because the meth is keeping you a little bit going into it real bad. And that's what happens. And I had people out there show me that. They would say, no, put it in a Ziploc bag, shake it, and watch what happens. Because you'll end up seeing a little row of crystals in the bottom, and half of them are meth and half of them are fentanyl. And they're like, if you get caught from anybody, you put it in a baggie, and you make sure you shake it down, and you only take off the top, because that's what they're doing. Is that they're trafficking it through the weed, and they're also poisoning people with it on purpose.
Yep. Right now, there's some of the apartments over by Safeway. They're trying to evict a guy in one of the apartments. He's a 16-year-old selling fentanyl and meth out of the apartment.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah, that would be like right over near where Lisa and yeah, they were. Yeah, that was very fucking obvious. Anyway, I gotta pee, but yeah.
Well, I have to go into town too. Can I contact you later, or maybe you just message me later with some information so I can send it? I have to actually run into town and pay for a window I broke a couple of months ago.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
They're working real well with me. I broke it on accident. It's $750 to repair it. I paid $250 last month, so I got $250 this month to pay.
Do you have any kind of Cash App or Venmo or anything?
I do have Cash App.
Would you like some money for dinner?
I'd love some. I got to try to figure out how to set that up on the internet. I'll do that as far as setting up so that it actually works after I get back, if they'll let me.
Well, you figure that out. You send me a text message with your cash tag, and I'll send you a 20 for dinner, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm going to go and you message me later, and we'll figure this out, okay?
All right, you rock. Thank you, Claire.
You're welcome.
Bye. All right. I guess this is a pretty long video log. Claire is another one of the people that was victimized up here. The clickiness of the things going on up here makes it very scary. The stuff that she's saying about the expectations, well, yes, very much so. There is a certain level of sexism here that isn't just tolerated, it's expected. We do have people here who are from all walks of life, people who are LGBT, people who are straight, people who are men, people who are women, who have transitioned. The problem we have is people working together. One of the things, like here, for example, a lot of people want to be accepted. If they bully the same person that everybody else does, they get to feel like they're a part of something. And maybe those people that they want to like them will like them a little bit more since they took part in the hazing and the bullying. When I was growing up, that was one of the biggest things that popular kids would do with their victims. They'd pretend to be friends with one of them so they could try to pitch that one against the other one. Kind of like the whole bum fights thing. You give them both a bottle of alcohol, or you put a bottle of alcohol on the side and the winner gets to take it. Kind of the same thing. They're just exploiting us. And that goes for every single service here. Now, there are some of them. For example, tides of change. If you're a woman in a house, tides of change is great. They will help you. If you're not a woman or not in a house, they don't care. They're dismissive and they're demeaning. A lot of the services here that I've been sent to, like Helping Hands, for example, I knew it wasn't going to be a good fit. The people here knew it wasn't going to be a good fit. The problem is that the mandated reporters didn't care if it was a good fit or not. It was a way to pawn me off so they didn't have to spend 8 hours doing their job. That's why they set us up for therapy instead of doing their jobs as mandated reporters. If you say, hey, I'm a disabled adult and I was just assaulted, they'll set you up for therapy 30 days away. You're supposed to turn in the crime right away. You're supposed to turn it into a mandated reporter. There's a list of who the mandated reporters are. Church clergy are mandated reporters. A lot of these people want to pretend that they're not mandated reporters, like the people at 988. No, they absolutely are. 100% of them are mandated reporters. One of the things the mandated reporters here tend to do when you try to turn in abuse that's committed against you, if you're a homeless person, well, they don't care about the abuse. All they want to do is ask you over and over and over again if you want to harm yourself or others. Well, with all due respect, if I wanted to harm myself or others, I'd just do it. If I was interested in killing people, there would have been a long string of bodies and it would have been very evident. Now, although there is a long string of bodies, there's also the fact that I wasn't near any of those people when they died. The closest out of all of the bodies, I was about 5 blocks away from Natalie Bollinger when she got shot in the head. I was at Kayla Trujillo's at 120th and Melody in Aurora, Colorado. It's about 5 blocks from the border of the Thornton area, and that's where McIntosh Dairy is. That's where Natalie Bollinger got her brains blown out. Christine Buhit overdosed on fentanyl with George while she was with George Helmstetter, and that happened while I was in prison. My friend Stephen McMillian broke his own neck screwing around over Boulder Creek. A lot of these people are important witnesses. A lot of them are friends that I love very much. And when you talk about separation anxiety, I haven't seen my friends in years. I haven't seen my family in years. There is no familiarity for me here. And, well, as far as the bullying goes, most of the people here don't bully me. They mind their business, they leave me alone, and they do try to be pleasant. But they're not the elitist ones who think that they should have a say-so and be allowed to bully people for no reason, especially over something so trivial. I mean, here I am trying to turn in people who are assaulting and raping people and taking advantage of disabled people, and I get 6 people yelling at me over a pot of coffee I didn't make and the fact that it's spilled. It's dumb. Now, as far as literally having to set up my computer like this and try to comply with all of the rules and regulations out here, I went back into town to buy headphones so that I could have a private conversation. I went and got tapes so I can put it over my camera so that nobody's offended by that. I'm not breaking any rules as far as that goes, but I'm running myself ragged for them to make literally everything impossible for me to do. It shouldn't be this impossible. There is no reason that not a single service in this town has a room that I can sit down in peace and quiet and work on this. It doesn't matter if it's out here, the police station. The closest that we have here is the library. And of course, at the library, I've only got 3 hours, only an hour of which is actually usable as far as the computer goes. And of course, I have to hope that a mandated reporter who is supposed to show up will actually show up
and actually make an effort to coordinate with me and work with my disabilities instead of exploiting the hell out of them, which they've been doing. As far as the situation out here, I would have liked to talk to the staff in a more professional capacity before moving out here because it probably would have been a little bit more useful for them to explain to all these services this is not what we do.
Now, the lady here who should have done that, instead of doing that, she yelled at me over it. When somebody in one of these services yells at me and says it's not their fault, I'm going to be pissed immediately, but I am going to be as kind as I can. You don't get to victim blame and victim shame. And you don't get to berate me for what other people did. I have made my decisions based on the information to hand. Now, when I have to deal with all these different quote unquote professionals lying to me about who does what, that is entirely not my fault, and it's not okay to yell at me for it. What she should have done is called up the sheriff's department and yelled at them, and then called the police department and yelled at them, and then called CARE and yelled at them, and then called Tides of Change and yelled at them. And after calling Tides of Change, well, they should have called a few more people to yell at them because literally everybody's quick fix for being abused on the streets out here is helping hands. When you're being abused, you need a police officer who's going to do their job. But none of these police officers are going to do their job for a homeless person unless you have a friend or family with you. One of hmm? Yeah, you're right. Most of it's billing acceptance, but that's the thing about mandated reporters. They're still mandated reporters. So if you record them and you tell them about the abuse and you try to show them the evidence and they run you around in circles, they're not turning it in immediately, so they're committing a crime. That's one of the things that Claire's luckily being able to deal with right now is that she had a mandated reporter finally do what they're supposed to. Right. You're absolutely right about that. That's right. This isn't actually appropriate for me to have to do it this way, so I'm not real happy about it either. Um, well, it's my daily log, so it is, but it's not. I got my headphones in. I tried listening last night. I couldn't hear anybody. You're good. Anyway, I'm gonna end this video log because I gotta uh, pack up my computer and then I gotta try to catch a bus into town and then hopefully try to catch a bus back out here because, like I said, with my disabilities, I can't walk that full distance. Um, I had to try it without my cane when I was arrested, and I ended up going to the hospital and getting bullied there. The Seventh Day Adventist Church and Seventh Day Adventist Hospital have many of the same people at them, and the things that Claire had to say about them, yeah, that's correct too. Um, Obviously, she's not a figment of my imagination, but I do want to state that just in case this ever makes it to court, Claire is a good mom, and the things that she jumped through here almost made it so that she permanently lost her children. If she'd have continued jumping through the help here, she never would have gotten her children back. So the thing that I am the most happy about right now is that Claire did get her kids back and that she finally has some assistance there. She was also one of those people that spoke openly, and most people don't. She did that knowing that I was recording. Same with Dallas Palmer and quite a few other people. Well, can I turn it off real quick? So, all right. Anyway, it's good to be with you. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper and your sister's too, and no victim left behind.